take a closer look at the create part icon here. So I've already selected my my material and my machine. I'm going to be cutting this part out of quarter-inch steel. One thing that we will show you here is if I click on the Edit Material button, if you go to the top of any material, there's on the AWJ tab, there's information related to marking. If this box is checked, then it'll use abrasive when marking. If it's unchecked, then it'll just be water only marking. And then you can also specify whether you want to do the marking at the full cutting pressure, or if this so if that box is checked, there won't be any change in pressure. If you uncheck the box, then it'll either use the low pressure setting on the pump, and if you have the capability on your pump with a proportional control valve, you could actually put in the exact pressure in here, what you wanted to use for your marking pressure. But if you don't have that proportional control valve, then it'll simply switch the pump into low pressure if this box is not checked. So that's where the marking information is. You've also got your feed rate for the marking, and then a delay after the water turns on before it starts moving for the marking. So that information's there. So then we click on the Create Part button, and down here it says Select Objects, so we can just draw a box, drag a box around here. And up at the top you've got some information related to how you want to identify this part, which if you're going to be nesting, it's usually helpful to put some sort of identification on here, be it the part number or some sort of identification. So you got a couple different options to do that. One option is if you just leave the default here, is just have this part number in here, and it'll sequentially use the next number. So next time you go to create a part, this will be 6312, etc. Keep incrementing up by 1 every time. So if we just leave it like that, for example, and I'm just going to say OK. And then we click on the part, you go to Parts, and then click on this Properties button, so it's use that part 6311 as the identifier. And if we go back, the other option would be, select this again, you can use text as names. So if you've inserted text onto the part like we have here, if I check this box and click on OK, and then again click on this part and go to Part Properties, you'll see it's picked up that text for the name of that part. And then the other option is, if we go back again, create parts, and hit enter. The other option is if you want to use the file name. So up here in the top left hand corner, I've named this drawing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that would be the IGEMS file name. If I want to use that as the part identifier, what I can do is this, a little tricky. You can insert the generic currency symbol, which what I've done is I've just opened up Word here. You go to Symbols, and so you're looking for this symbol here, and you can just insert into a Word document, and then you can just copy that and then just paste it into this box here, and uncheck this Use Text as Name box, and click on OK. And again, we look at Parts, Properties, and so now it's used the drawing file name for the part name. And then you can do combinations of things. So we could select this again, and I can put in part number, and now if I create the part and back to Part Properties, so it's used the combination of the file name as well as incrementing the number by 1 there. So a few different ways to identify the part, and we'll just undo that one more time. And we'll just go with this for right now. So you've got your quantity box here. So if you know that you're going to be needing to nest a certain number of these, you can just plug that number in there right now. You can always change that number later when you get to the nesting stage. Show you the auto quantity button here in a moment. If you want to identify a customer with this, you can put that in there. And again, that'll show up on the other report. So you know who this goes to. Geometry optimization. If you've got a tight contour that the stream needs to get into, it'll look at see how far it can get down into the geometry. So for example, let me just cancel out of here again, and we'll just draw a line here like this. So if you have something like this, and say this represents our 40,000 stream width, when the geometry optimization is turned on, IGEMS is going to look at see how far down the stream can get into this geometry before it starts cutting into the part itself. So rather than going all the way down, trying to go all the way down to the tip of this cut here, it'll actually turn around up here so it doesn't ding into the part. So that's the geometry optimization button. So again, we'll go back and restart this command again. So if you do want to go further down into a geometry, you can uncheck that box, but normally that box would be checked. If the curve fit box is checked, if you have a spline or drawing that's got thousands of points, it'll use the curve fit command and fit the best curve through those points, minimizing the number of points on the line and also minimizing the size of the file that you create. So usually a good idea to have that box checked. If you want it to immediately add the lead-ins, as soon as you click on the OK button, you can check this box. If you uncheck it, then you'll have to click on the contour button next to add your leads. And then down here you've got options as far as specifying what quality that you want to use on the part for outside cut, inside cuts, and then the other quality is used for any open geometries. So for example, in this part here, if we're going to cut this arc here, this is the quality that it would use on that cut. So you've got a lot of options there as far as optimizing your part quality. And then the other button here, other objects. So if you do have things that you want to cut which are not closed geometries, so you want to cut this arc here, or you want to etch this lettering up here, click on the other objects button, and then you can just drag a box around the entire part because it already knows that the other geometries are going to be cut. And then after you've selected those items, hit enter, and then they should show up here in pink. And once you've got everything the way that you like it, let me switch this back. We had company ABC there, we had quantity of 10. Click on OK, and the text is in pink, and then you've got your open cut here that you can select. So at this point, what you can do is you can either first click on the contour button and add all your leads, or what you probably more typically do is program this open cut first. So to do that, we'll click on this quick button here, and you can specify whether it's going to be a slit or a contour cut, which in this case it'll be a slit cut, and you can tell whether there's supposed to be any sort of lead in on this, which will pierce right on the start of the line. And then you can just click on single just because we have one cut to program like this, and then hit enter, and that's it. So we click on close for that. And then for the marking up here, if we're going to etch this Waterjet up here, click on the marking button, and should have an attribute. If you don't have an attribute that already says etch, just click on the plus sign to add an attribute that says etch, and then you can click on multi and drag a box around here. So then we've got the traverse line will come up and it'll do the etching on there. And then you could click on the contour button, and let's see, we're going to just tell it that this is a metal. Using my metal leads, click on multi, hit enter, and so it's added all my leads. And then I can set my 0 point, and I'm just going to process this so we can see the code, so you can see the different changes in the pressure settings and such. So I'll just do a 3D simulation here. So here we go to low pressure and traverse over, and then we see here that we just have an M60 to turn water on for that etch. So we've got the etch that it does there. And then, so this is for the lettering, so we've got the Waterjet that it goes through there. And then when it's done with the Waterjet etching, then it'll go to high pressure, and then this would be the that arc that we're just slit that we're going to cut there. And then after that, it'll go on and do the rest of it. So if you do want to etch at lower pressure, and after you create your code, if you do not see the change between low and high pressure, then there's another setting that you need to change. So again, we got that marking where it goes to low pressure there. If you don't see that change in pressure, what you need to do is in this process area here, click on this process submenu here and go down to the strategy button, and then you've got several different options in here. Go to this various menu, and there's this selection here to skip pressure changes. In that case, you would not want to skip pressure changes, so that would normally be set to no. But just for example, if I switch this to yes and then click on OK, and we go back and we reprocess this and look at the code again, then up here at the top we'll see that there is no change to the low pressure like there should be. So then again, just go back into the process area, strategy, into various, and change skip pressure changes to no. You can also do no but ask. So if a situation where you actually didn't want to switch to low pressure, when you go to process the part, it'll ask you whether you want to switch to low pressure or not. So we've got this box here now, skip pressure changes. So in this case, I do not want to skip pressure changes, so I'll leave that unchecked. And we've got our code in there for the pump to go to low pressure. And the other thing that we'll look at in here, if we click on the report icon and pull up this report. So this would typically be the report that you give to your operator that shows them the material and information about nozzle and orifice and such. Here on the second page, you can see here it's used that part name that we use in the create part step to identify that part, and that's also put the company name in here. So this can be helpful when you've got a nest and you've got several parts on the nest to figure out which part is which. So if when you create your report, if that second page isn't there that shows the detailed part information, there's another setting. If we go back to the process area and back into strategy, under this output area, if this box here, include detailed part information, is not checked, then that you won't see that second page with the individual part information. So we'll just go back and create that report again. And so now it'll just be a one-page report, which if you've only got one part, maybe that's okay, that's how you want it. But if you do want the detailed part breakdown for each part in a nest, go back into process, strategy, output, and check this box, include detailed part information, and then we'll get that on there. And there it is again. And if you have any questions, let us know. Thanks.